This video is a continuation of a series where I recommend games that you should watch in their fullness. If you're a basketball superfan like me, then you don't just watch highlights from iconic moments, but rather you make your popcorn and you get on your comfy couch and watch full-length NBA games from years past, as if they're classic movies. In this series, I'm recommending games that are well known and that young NBA fans should watch. But I'm also suggesting games that are lesser known that have somehow slipped through the cracks of the mainstream memory. As always, I'll be providing links to these games in the pinned comment, so that all you'll have to do is click and you're immediately off to viewing. As always, let me know your suggestions in the comment section below. Now without further ado, let's get into it. The first game is the Dallas Mavericks versus the Sacramento Kings in Game 5 of the first round of the 2004 playoffs. This was an epic battle between many great players, and many names that any hardcore basketball fan will recognize. You had a battle between two of the best power forwards in the game at that time, between Dirk Nowitzki and Chris Webber, but you also had two elite point guards in a young Steve Nash and Mike Bibby. You had terrific performances from all of the usual suspects, and at the time, these were two of the most exciting and potent offenses in the entire league, and it translated to an unusually high scoring game for that era. It was an absolute nail-biter down the stretch, and I'm sure any Mavericks fan or Sacramento Kings fan who's been around for a while will let you know that this was one of the greatest playoff games that they've ever witnessed. The second game is Michael Jordan's fifth game back in the 94-95 regular season against the New York Knicks. This game is commonly referred to as the double nickel game. If you're a fan of Michael Jordan, or even just appreciate his impact on basketball history, then I definitely recommend checking this one out. You have to understand, this might just look like another great Michael Jordan game, but at the time, this was a really big deal for so many reasons beyond that. For example, MJ had just come back from playing baseball, and in the 4 regular season games leading up to this contest that he had played, he didn't look like the same Jordan he was before his retirement, as 2 out of those 4 games were extremely poor shooting. NBA analysts and many basketball fans all around the world were starting to question if we'd ever see the same Michael Jordan ever again, which is why this game meant so much to so many people. Because MJ looked like his old self as he exploded and torched the Knicks for what was at the time the most points ever scored at Madison Square Garden. If you like Michael Jordan highlights, you like thrilling finishes, and you like learning about history and experiencing it as if you were in the moment, then I definitely recommend this game. The next game is the 1992 NBA All-Star Game. This is quite possibly my favorite All-Star game in NBA history, and this one was also significant in basketball history, as it was well after Magic Johnson's first retirement for the NBA. As you all know, he left the game of basketball because of the HIV virus that he obtained, and when the league allowed him to participate in this All-Star game, it was a pretty controversial thing. Sure, many basketball fans were super excited, but on the other hand, you had a lot of players who were concerned for their own safety, like Karl Malone, for example. During his introduction, you could sense the energy, but also the awkwardness within the air. What ensued was a wholesome and exciting basketball game, and the final few minutes were some of the most exciting, thrilling, and heartwarming moments that you could witness as a fan. It was the perfect send-off to Magic Johnson at that time. And if you call yourself an NBA fan, you definitely should familiarize yourself with these moments. Next is the 1976 NBA Finals, Game 5, Suns vs. Celtics. Simply put, this game is usually known as, quote, the greatest game ever played. It went into several overtimes, and there was a lot of star players involved, like John Havlicek, Dave Cowens, JoJo White, Paul Westphal, and so on. Multiple stars in this game played 60 minutes of the contest, and it was so thrilling and so exciting down the stretch that the crowd stormed the court after the game was over, even though the championship had not yet been decided. It's way back in history, so you have to understand that styles and approaches were very different at that time. But if you're someone that can enjoy and appreciate old school basketball, then this one is a must. Next is the Bulls versus the Mavericks in the 1995-96 regular season. This one doesn't necessarily have some big historical significance, and it was just another regular season game. But with that being said, it was very exciting and extremely competitive. This was the year that the Bulls had their record-setting 72-10 season, and in this contest, it was Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman taking on a young Jason Kidd and Jamal Mashburn of the Dallas Mavericks. Jason Kidd had a fantastic performance and looked as good as ever, as he put up a monstrous triple-double. On the other hand, MJ was MJ, and the game was close down the stretch, with a couple of underrated heroes in this contest. Obviously, the Bulls won a lot of games this season, but with that being said, a few of them were some nail-biters and had Chicago sweating. This was one of them, and I personally enjoyed it, and I think you would too. Then we have the Los Angeles Lakers versus the New York Knicks in the 2011-2012 regular season. Most of you know about this game at this point. This was the peak of the Jeremy Lin excitement, but it was also the game where Ahmad Shumpert famously talked about Kobe Bryant, letting him know that he, quote, had a great game. For just being a regular season contest, this one certainly has a lot of relevance in basketball history, as it summed up the sensation of Jeremy Lin, but also gives us some good perspective on just the kind of competitor that Kobe Bryant was. This was a fantastic game in Madison Square Garden, between two of the most valuable franchises in the entire league. And of course, it was very exciting down the stretch. So now it's your turn. What are some games that you would like to recommend to the rest of us? I look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks for watching as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.